Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, it's so good to be back in the studio. I'm here today with Integrity Training Systems to talk health, to talk wellness, to talk fitness. In the studio with my husband, John Morris. Glad to have you with me, John.
Of course.
And I'm excited because I have Dr. Alex Chen in with us for this show, and he's going to be here for the duration of the entire show. Dr. Alex, it's great to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you.
So we are here to talk about traditional Chinese medicine. I've done some work with Dr. Alex for about the past year and a half now, and John has also worked with him. I have personally gone through a traditional Chinese medicine certification in nutrition therapy in the past year, just getting a better understanding of just the whole concept of Chinese medicine. It's pretty remarkable the changes that I have experienced, which I want to discuss a little bit on the show today, and then just really want to get in depth on what Chinese medicine is, why people do acupuncture, what is the purpose of the herbs, and just kind of the difference, the variance between traditional medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. But we always like to start our broadcast with our Warrior podcast with this first segment referring to kind of just that warrior spirit that we have at Integrity and that our trainers really encompass and really spend our lives trying to encourage others to have an overcoming spirit. And when you look up the definition of the word warrior, the definition states that it is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. And so we often really work with people that are dealing with serious issues, sometimes very serious health issues. And I can remember a couple years ago, John and I taking on a client, and the doctor referred him to us. And when she referred him to me, she said he's tried to die twice this year. He went to the Mayo Clinic and to the Cleveland Clinic, and they can't figure it out. And at this point, you might be the last hope for him with changing his food. Well, ultimately, it really ended up making a tremendous impact on his life. And I mean, we ended up eventually seeing him jump on top of a table for his daughter's 40th birthday party. And it was just remarkable. The guy's life was completely turned around, where he sincerely almost passed away twice in a year. And so my point in telling you that story is we take on a person like that, and they're in the middle of a really dark time in life, and they're struggling to find any light in their day or any life, anymore. And so we have to jump in and kind of arm them up with what it takes to stay encouraged, to stay in faith, to stay, on the path that gets them the possibility for change. Right, John?
Right.
And so what does it take to be a warrior, John? I mean, what keeps you overcoming every day?
I mean, I think that if you look at the definition of warrior, it's just talking about someone who's experienced. So I think that being a warrior means having experience and then continuing regardless of what that experience produces. You're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, but being warrior means no matter what the next thing that comes at you is, you're willing to continue to try to take it on and use that past experience to get through it. So a lot of times when I'm struggling or I'm low, what I have to do is I have to think about who and why I'm doing what I'm doing for. I'm doing it for my wife, I'm doing it for my daughter, and sometimes, doing it for myself isn't enough. And so I have those other elements that I have to actually think about. But if I don't put thought into those elements, then I may not succeed. I might be willing to roll over and just skip a day, because I don't have enough on my own to decide to warrior after that. So paying attention to who and what I'm doing it for, my why, is my biggest drive for sure.
And we talk about this every week. And so just a snippet off of what you just said, I think part of being a warrior and part of that suit of armor that you put on every day is that ability, that helmet of salvation, and that ability to deflect that negative thinking. So like you said, you're trying to determine what is your why every day. So that can keep you on track. It can keep you on that focus track of where you need to go and how you need to help people and what you need to be doing every day. But if we're not cautious, we can let that doubt sink in, and we can tell ourselves to go ahead and roll over on our day, and to go ahead and, think negatively about our day, and just to get that spirit of defeated thinking and just think this day isn't going to be good. I'm not going to get better. I'm not going to overcome. And so we almost really have to become a warrior and at our own mental game and at that own inner dialogue that we have every single day with ourselves, because it almost starts right there. If we wake up and we start immediately telling ourselves how bad our day is going to be and the list of things that we have to do and just how bad our circumstances are and how they're never going to be okay or they're never going to get better, it's really difficult to stay the course. It's really difficult to stay committed. And if you don't have anybody positive around you telling you the opposite of that, then it's even more difficult. But in my opinion, my suggestion and the way I've always handled those things is find things that do have the courage to seek something every day that will encourage you to stay in the battle. So instead of getting up and doing the easy thing, which is to just start thinking of all the bad things and all the reasons why the day is going to go wrong, have the courage to lean over and grab a book, to grab a motivational, to listen to a podcast, to call a friend, or to maybe just take time to pray so that you can get yourself in the right mindset. We love talking to our guest, Dr. Alex, so I know you came on to talk about traditional Chinese medicine, but we're going to get your opinion. How do you stay encouraged in the midst of difficulty?
Okay, so I am not only practicing traditional Chinese medicine, I also practice Tai Chi, which is a very important part of this health wellness exercise. So I think if anyone knows the main philosophy of Tai Chi, they probably can help their warrior mentality. So in Tai Chi, we don't see that we need to stay strong or hard to endure the difficulty. Okay, so a lot of time I use this idea of water. So we can be like water to make our life more fluid.
Yes.
Okay? So whenever there's a difficulty, I always think about myself as a water. Okay, so what's the main property of water? It's like every force come to the water will absorb it, will bypass it. Okay, so this actually is a very important idea and very good to everyone's health, because when you think about you need to be a warrior, you need to be strong, then you endure a lot more forces from any stress you encounter. Okay, so this is actually taught by ancient Tai Chi masters or ancient Chinese culture. The main idea of the Tai Chi is you don't want to go against to anything against you. So I think that's a very important part of
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think it's like balance. It's finding that first of all, you find balance when you can find peace internally. And so I think if you can start that day with some type of process, for me, it's deep breathing. Before I even get out of bed, I take time for breath work. I take time for yoga. You're saying you take time for Tai Chi, but there's a mental component to it. And it's, in your concept of thinking about water, it's seeing yourself in a situation different than what you're actually in and being able to visualize the circumstances as possibly being overcome and becoming better for yourself instead of focusing, on that negative. And I know it's such a deep topic, but with what we do for a living, that's what we help people with. You would think that we just spend all of our day lifting weights and telling people to eat chicken and broccoli, but it truly isn't. It goes so much deeper than that, because if the mindset is not strengthened, then really it does not matter how strong the body is, okay? Because the body can only be as strong as the mind. So if you're coming into a situation, a circumstance where you need healing or you need change, but your mind is weak, we do you no favors by helping you to strengthen the outer man if we're not helping you to strengthen the inner man. And that is what we do, at Integrity. We offer a 6-month nutrition program, and we work with you to tell you exactly what to eat, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, how to shop for it. All the details are taken care of for you. We also offer an online nutrition program, a master's nutrition program as well. We will also offer you a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, free of charge, to come in, assess, and identify any muscle imbalances that you have or any postural deviations. For more information on Integrity Training Systems, take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com or call us at 636-299-2208. And don't forget, for nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods, take a look at us at sophiesbakery.com. Hey everybody, glad to be back with you. We are in the studio with my husband John Morris and with Dr. Alex Chen with WellLifeHealing.com. This is my personal doctor that I go to for acupuncture as well as herbal remedy. He is a doctor of Chinese medicine, and a couple years ago I really started having some pretty serious issues with some swelling in the lower part of my belly. And I really struggled to have really any doctors that had any concept of what was going on. I mean, fortunately, they were not finding anything serious, like a tumor or anything along those lines. But unfortunately, they were not really finding anything, so we were not really coming to any solution. And I have gone through a couple of different types of functional medicine certifications when it comes to nutrition and health coaching and what I do for a living. And every certification that I've gone through, in fact, really, truly all of them, would always have a segment, it's just a segment on traditional Chinese medicine. And every time I would always think to myself, I would have this huge hurdle ahead of me of all of these, modules I'd have to go through for this current certification. And I think to myself, I really want to take a beeline and keep studying traditional Chinese medicine, but I would need to go through 35 more modules to take a final exam, for the functional medicine. And so I finally decided, I'm going to look into this further. And with the knowledge that I had from my certifications and with what I was battling in my body, I started to research local practitioners. And Dr. Alex, you came up. I scheduled an appointment with you because you were referred to me by a personal contact that I have, Tim Casey. He was a body work massage therapist that I had gone to that had worked with you for many years, and he was excellent and a master of his craft. And so I felt anyone he would refer me to would be a master in their craft, and you by all means are. And I came to you at a really weak place. All my condition was my system was just very down regulated. And so the first visit I had with you, we met and you took a picture of my tongue, you checked my pulses, and then you started talking about multiple different systems that I had and just how they were down regulated. I'm curious if you can kind of give the listeners just an idea and a concept of what you do on that first meeting and sort of the types of things that you found out about my body, because obviously traditional Chinese medicine and traditional medicine there's absolutely no comparison. It's just two completely different types of medicine, and they don't even really have any. They don't really even meet in the middle in any areas. So I'd be very interested in hearing, kind of what your process was, and educating our listeners on that.
Okay. Yes. So I basically follow the traditional way of traditional Chinese medicine to practice this medicine. So when a patient comes in, so we collect a lot of information. For example, we take a patient's tongue picture, take patient's pulses, and I will ask patient a lot of different questions. Because in traditional Chinese medicine, we know that our body is a very delicate, you can call it machinery. Okay, it's much actually more delicate than a machine. So that means our body can show a lot of signs and information about our internal imbalance or internal unhealthiness. Okay, the problem is that nowadays people don't know how to interpret those problems, those symptoms. But traditional Chinese medicine has been around at least 2,500 years from the document we can find. We believe that's even longer than that. So we accumulate a lot of knowledge to interpret each individual's symptoms, what that means to the body. And then when we collect all those information, we can conclude to whether this patient have a certain weakness in either we call spleen subsystem or kidney subsystem or different subsystems. So for example, when Debbie comes in, I can find that her spleen subsystem is weak. I have to interpret the spleen, explain the spleen subsystem here. So we don't refer the spleen subsystem as a spleen organ. We mainly refer that as a digestive system and part of circulatory function. So when this system is weak, that means the body does not generate good quality of energy and blood. Okay, so that's why Debbie has a lot of health issue. And then when I conclude that, I start to help your spleen subsystem. And it does take time for body to rebuild, to restore its function. But once the function gradually improve, a lot of my patients, they will see their symptoms improve. And majority of the time, their main concern symptom improve, and a lot of other symptoms also improve. Okay, so that's basically how the traditional Chinese medicine has been practicing for a long time. Just people don't kind of understand how it's been used.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I will just say we'll go into that in more detail in this next segment. And both, John and myself have both been to Dr. Alex, so we'll definitely want John to jump in next segment and talk a little bit as well. But I would say I'm a year out now, and I, in this past probably month or two, I've just been really noticing great shifts and great improvements in my energy, in my digestion, in less swelling in my body, in just consistency in how I'm feeling throughout the day. So there's been time that I had to commit to it. I had to be very consistent about the eating. I had to be very consistent about taking the herbs. I had to be very, consistent with the pattern of healthy living, as well as I was consistent with the acupuncture, which I'd like to talk about next segment as well. So this is maybe an alternative route, but the reason why I took this alternative route was because the traditional routes that I was taking, I was just coming up empty. There were no solutions. There wasn't even really a medication that was being offered, because every test that I would take was okay. So because the tests were okay, there just simply wasn't anything wrong with me. But there was enough swelling in my lower belly to make it look that I could be pregnant. And then, I was experiencing great exhaustion, and just a tremendous amount of symptoms in my body, all throughout the body. So, looking into an alternative practitioner it sometimes can be what actually is the catalyst to significant change in your body. For more information on Dr. Alex Chen, who is practicing traditional Chinese medicine here in Baldwin, Missouri, you can take a look at welllifehealing.com or give him a call at 314-868-6088. And for more information on Integrity Training Systems, our 6-month nutrition program, or a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, please take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. And for nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods, take a look at us at sophiesbakery.com. It's great to be back in the studio with my husband, John Morris, and Dr. Alex Chen with welllifehealing.com, traditional Chinese medicine doctor. And we're talking about the variable between traditional Chinese medicine and traditional medicine and the difficulty I had, really identifying a solution. And also, John, I know that you've had a number of different blood panels done, where you were told that everything was okay, and very similar situation for you as well, where we just really we were not able to find, any options for you.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. I deal with extreme fatigue. I've had a lot of traumatic brain injuries. I've got different neurological issues that I've had my entire life, and those things would be identified, but then there wouldn't be an answer or anything to do with them. And then there are other things that just aren't identified. It's just, well, you're okay. You just need to, have a higher outlook on life, or, make yourself have more energy. And it's like, okay, yeah, let me just do that. I'd love that. But yes, definitely I've had things that I've been met with those types of responses as well.
And so, we did the same with John. John and I both went to see Dr. Alex. And so in that circumstance, I'm sure, Dr. Alex, that you're pretty accustomed to meeting with folks that are coming to you in that situation where they're kind of, I don't know, I guess not to be dramatic, but they're sort of at their wits' end. They don't really know what else to do at this point.
Yes, very common. I have many people come to see me and saying that, they get all the tests and everything shows they're healthy. There's no problem, okay? Lots of tests, and they spend lots of money, and their doctor will conclude, you don't have a problem, okay? And therefore they don't either prescribe anything or they just cannot do anything. So it's very easy to understand from traditional Chinese medicine. As I mentioned, our body is very delicate, so that's why we can get a lot of information from our body. So I have to say that our body, there's two parts of the body. One is a material part of the body. The other one is the functional part of the body. So when our body start have a health issue or start to deteriorate, usually the functional part will change first. Okay, so the function will get weaker, or even not functional. But because the body is designed to accommodate a lot of changes, so the person will still feel functional, more or less functional, but they will feel something wrong. However, a lot of these tests in the traditional medicine, they mainly focus on the material change, because all the tests, they can only see the change in the material part. So that's why in their tests, they just cannot find anything wrong. And patient will just say, I just don't feel right. I just don't have energy. So that's actually why I can help a lot of patients kind of recover from that kind of situation, as well even get better. So I think this is a very important idea. You don't need to think about that, you only need to only have problem whenever you get all the tests has something wrong. A lot of time you may not get to that level, but you're feeling really bad already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when it finally shows up on the test, I mean, sometimes then it's kind of too late.
Yes.
At that point. And I know, over the time of working with you, sometimes you would say, and I don't know, I'm sure I'm not going to say it the right way, but sometimes you would say, just because you feel strong enough to do something doesn't necessarily mean that you are strong enough to do something. It's mentally, and this is definitely me. I'm a go-getter. I will get up and do the job no matter what, right?
Yes.
I don't ever give up. I'll die trying before I quit, right? But you would say sometimes it's the mind is stronger than the body.
Yes, that's actually a very common problem for a lot of people. So this is often I mention to my patient a lot of time, listen to your body, not listen to your mind. Okay? I have to say that, that's why one of the advantage of being a human, our mind is very sharp, so it's very strong. So a lot of time we forget we also need our body. So when you only listen to your mind, yes, if you have a strong will, no matter how weak your body, your mind will drive your body to do things.
Right.
However, at that moment, you are weakening or even hurting your body. So you want to listen to your body, slow down, to really feel your body, not just listen to your mind thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, John, tell me about your experience with acupuncture.
Oh, acupuncture was great. I used it for back pain. I used it for issues I was having in my hip. At one point, I had to go see Dr. Alex, and I had already started seeing him prior to this, a little bit prior to this, but I threw my back out and I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I literally was setting a spray bottle on the ground in the garage and just shifted weird. And I went through about a week of not being able to walk. And I went to Dr. Alex for that, and he had some different techniques he used for acupuncture for me there. And it was interesting because my movement, as limited as it was, my shape was also off. I was leaning to the side. It was almost like instead of being centered with my upper torso and my pecs over my hips, I was off to where my right pec was over my hips, but my left pec was off like in its own area on the other side of where my lower body was. It was pretty dramatic to look at. And I wasn't able to stand up through that. And I know that there was one specific acupuncture that we did. And when we did that, it stood me up. I was actually able to get my body to respond to what I was trying to tell it to do when I would stand, and he would have me lean a little bit, and then I would come back out of it, and then move a little bit and come back out of it. And that was so fascinating how that helped my back. But the other aspect of acupuncture that was really neat for me is I have a lot of trouble with sleep and rest. I struggle with that, and I think that's a large part of why I deal with such fatigue, but I really struggle to go to sleep and go to rest. And every time I would go to acupuncture, the stress relief that would occur when I'm on the table is phenomenal. I mean, I would nap every time,
right?
And it was just so much calm and so much peace, so much like proper. I could feel the proper circulation, and then all of a sudden I'd be out, and then I would only wake up to hearing him moving around me to come back for the next part of what we were doing. And
I know for me, the first time I did acupuncture, I left feeling energized from it. And some folks had told me that they feel tired, but I was energized, and I felt this dramatic surge of circulation all throughout my body. And in the middle of it, on the table, there was just this overwhelming experience where I felt like this dam had broke, and like a flood of circulation came through this section of my body, and it almost like woke me up off the table like an adrenaline rush, like what just happened. And then I was energized for the rest of the day. We have to remember I walked in the door because I felt like I was going through life like a turtle. I mean, I was not energized. And so I asked Dr. Alex, I said, okay, well, how often can I do this? Because this is the first thing that has shown me any sign of improvement. And you said, well, when you were growing up, or where you practice medicine from, that they would legitimately offer something like that every day to someone. Yes. If it was a stroke patient, if it was a very ill person or someone in my condition, you would be able to get it every day. But here in the United States, it's just not feasible. Number one, you can't afford it. And then number two, can you get there for that day? Can you spend an hour? Can you block the time? Can you do all this? But it would be such an obvious thing that you would do something like that every day. And I could see where, gosh, I would improve if I did do something like that every day. But I made the commitment to do it every week. And it made a tremendous difference for me. I wonder if you could speak a little bit into the acupuncture. I know that is obviously not all that you do. I mean, you really do identify and assess, and then we will go into the herbs with the next section. But tell us more about the acupuncture and just why it's so effective, and just that backdrop behind it.
Okay. So a lot of people don't understand how this acupuncture works. Okay. So I use some metaphor to help people understand. And some of these are just common knowledge. So when I put needles in a patient's body, because the needles are external objects, we all understand that, right? And we know our body have this we call immune system. So basically, I try to explain in using the language people can understand. Basically, immune system is not the idea of a traditional Chinese medicine. Okay. So when we put needle in a patient's body, the immune system will naturally bring a lot of blood to that area of the needle, as well as bring a lot of lymph fluid to the area. So first, that will help the circulation. Secondly, the lymph fluid also help a lot of things we know that, for example, reduce inflammation. That's one very simple concept here. The traditional Chinese medicine actually interpret this way. When we put needle in our body, and the location we call acupuncture point are the area that can stimulate body much stronger. Okay, so when we put needle in there, it kind of like you throw a rock into a palm, so that create a ripple effect. So they ripple out throughout the whole body, and all these acupuncture points, they are on this we call meridians. Meridians are the channels that body parts talk to each other. It's kind of like a wireless channel. You can talk to your friend with cell phone without a wire connecting to your friend, because you know there's a wireless channel. Same thing in our body. Our body is very complex, so there are channels, body parts talk to each other. So when you throw a rock, create a ripple effect in that channel, then you will affect that whole subsystem. Okay, so basically that's a basic concept of acupuncture to help our body.
That's so good.
Yeah,
that's amazing, and that's exactly what it did for me. And I left feeling different. I'd like to talk just real briefly next segment. Kind of why maybe one person would feel one way from it and another person would feel another way. You know what I mean? Just to kind of get that basic understanding of that, but. The acupuncture to me was such an open door for my condition to start to see improvement. And yes, it took time, but to be able to circulate toxins out of my body, it was just so important, given that I was dealing with mold toxicity, and dealing with, a yeast overgrowth and, different things like that. Understanding that you need your lymphatic system to transfer those toxins out, and if everything is just stalled and stuck, you just walk around feeling tired and sick all the time. And Dr. Alex was really able to help me again, not only just with the acupuncture, with the herbs as well, but really to improve my condition. But acupuncture has helped both John and I tremendously. Now, not all acupuncture is created equal. You have to remember that, this Dr. Alex is, a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. So this is not just your typical run-of-the-mill, let's just run and get some acupuncture. This is a completely different healing art. And for more information about what Dr. Alex does, you can take a look at welllifehealing.com or give him a call at 314-868-6088. And for more information on Integrity Training Systems, give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com. For nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods, please take a look at us at sophiesbakery.com. Everybody, so good to be back in the studio with my husband John Morris and Dr. Alex Chen, traditional Chinese medicine doctor that I've been working with, and John has also worked with this year. We've talked about, just the idea of traditional Chinese medicine. We talked about acupuncture, the purpose of it, the benefit of it, the ripple effect to improve all of the systems in the body, how it's impacted both John and I personally. But another thing that we worked with Dr. Alex was herbs. I still to this day take herbs every morning. I have a little glass canister. I travel with it and I set it on, the counter in the bathroom, and every morning I put a couple scoops of it in my water, and my daughter looks at me like, what in the world is that? And we've taken Sophie to Dr. Alex, so she's had her own set of Chinese herbs that she's taken. But Dr. Alex, this is something that I really respect about Chinese medicine. I studied nutritional therapy in Chinese medicine because the theory is that food is medicine, in this practice, and I respect that so much, and I truly believe it. I've always said food can either be medicine or it can be, a path to destruction for your body if you're on the wrong food, right? And so through the process of my healing journey, there have been so many circumstances where you have said, okay, we need more fruits and vegetables, or we need you to eat an apple, or we need you to eat a pear, or I need you to eat more cucumber or more lettuce, or just like you had absolute specific reasons for why you wanted me to eat these foods. Now, I do nutrition for a living, and I learned so much from you through the process, and there was an impact. I'll never forget, I had an allergic reaction to smoke on the 4th of July. I came in the house, my lungs closed up. 2 days later, you would have thought that I had COVID. I couldn't breathe. I was wheezing. I hadn't been sick in years. I'd never really ever had a cough. And I came to you, and you said, okay, well, I want you to go home and I want you to eat a pear, and then I want you to take these herbs. And within probably, I would say 5 minutes of eating a pear, my lungs had already felt moistened, and they were so dry. I mean, it felt like they could bleed. They were so dry, and it was just a miserable experience. Then you prescribed herbs that were very specific to this condition, and it was remarkable how different I felt by the time I went to bed that night. I mean, it was remarkable. Now, I take daily herbs, which are just simply for my condition, but could you speak more on the herbs?
Yes. So traditional Chinese herbs is very important practice in traditional Chinese medicine. And you have to understand, in the ancient time, not everyone can get acupuncture. Okay, so the herb actually can help a lot of people. So the concept of herb as well as food in traditional Chinese medicine is quite complex, but just make it simple. So we see food as well as herb in terms of their temperature property. So there are some food is hot in temperature, some are warm, some are neutral, some are cool, some are cold. And then when we diagnose a patient, we'll know whether a patient have a heat or a patient have a cold. Okay, when I say cold, does not mean the virus cold, means the temperature property is cold. And then when we know the patient's condition, then we will pick the right kind of herb or right kind of food. Just explain Debbie's situation in that case. So when she have this encounter the smoke, and we all know the smoke coming from the fire, right? So there's heat in her lung, and then that causes the dryness of her lung. So that's why I recommend her to eat some pear, because in traditional Chinese medicine, again, for long time experience accumulation, okay, so we know the pear is cool in helping lung, and as well as have the property of moisten the lung. So that's why when she eats the pear, she can feel the big difference. And then I often tell patients, when we prescribe herb, the difference between herbs and the food, they are just the effects is much stronger in herb, but food has also their effect to our body. However, food, they are more or less neutral or mild function. However, if you know how to use them and use at the right time and right amount, a lot of times they can help body. That's why Debbie use food to help so many people. It is completely kind of agree traditional Chinese medicine, agree with the traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah, and I've partnered with you on a number of clients.
Yes.
I mean, I have clients in California that I've had work with you, and her experience has been nothing but positive, and she hasn't even met you in person.
Yes.
And really turned some things around. I mean, there was some reproductive issues. There was some swelling in the body. You were able to really get her system into a better position, and this was truly just primarily through the herbs, because she hasn't come in for the acupuncture. So the herbs, and then of course I was working with her on her food, and then you were making some. We partnered together, and you made some really specific suggestions with the food that I kind of would formulate where to put it in her day, and
Yes.
and how to get it incorporated in a regular plan, which is fantastic. I was listening to a lady through a book the other day, and she said that her mentor, the doctor that mentored her, would always say that a patient needs a clinic without walls, meaning that there's a team of people that are willing to come together, and they're willing to facilitate whatever it takes to try to heal. And what I love about Dr. Alex is that we've been able to create that synergy and that partnership with Integrity Training Systems. When we send a client, we couple together on just trying to find a solution for healing. And I know that I'm sure that you work with a number of patients, doctors, and all the different practitioners that they work with to try to accommodate. The functional medicine doctor that I work with highly recommends that I continue to see Dr. Alex, and she was thrilled that I was seeing Dr. Alex. Every time we add something new, we recently added low-dose naltrexone. She said, I want to make sure that you keep taking the herbs on a daily basis. So she's always committed to it. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you coming on. I feel the only thing that we were not able to touch on, and we do not have the time for it, is just the nervous system component, and the way I truly feel a better balance in my body, a better calm. I just have more peace at this point in my life and my body, because of some of this practice, because of the yoga practice, because of the deep breathing, because of this acupuncture, because of the herbs, the concept of Tai Chi, and just finding a method for you to release. To take what's negative, to take what's too strong for the body, to take some of that built up heat and to use it towards something, and to release it out of your body so that you can find calm and you can find release. I appreciate you coming on, Dr. Alex. It's a blessing. The information is fantastic. And I feel if anyone has a need, and you're just not finding that solution, you're just not finding that answer, I know John and I both would highly recommend Dr. Alex. He's been instrumental in our health journey and really just helping us to find a better balance.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, too, that you want to take note of. We kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, and not enough time, maybe another show we can go into it, but it's just how different our situations were. Your situation and my situation were different, and the acupuncture and the herbs gave us different result. So it's not like it's just this, we have generic acupuncture. Like you said, you may go somewhere and receive that, or, you're generically taking this. It was very specifically designed and given to us for our issues, and we both saw improvement in completely different areas.
Absolutely. For more information on Dr. Alex Chen, please take a look at welllifehealing.com or give him a call at 314-868-6088 for information on a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers at Integrity Training Systems, where we identify any personal imbalances that you have, any postural deviations. We teach you how to stretch, we teach you how to foam roll free of charge. Please give us a call at 636-299-2208. And for information on our 6-month nutrition program with myself or our online nutrition program, go ahead and take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. And don't forget to take a look at my personal healthy bakery of nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door every Tuesday. We bake on Mondays, so make sure that you place your order by the end of the day on Sundays at sophiesbakery.com. Thank you again, Dr. Alex, for coming on. It's been a blessing to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening, and God bless.